All right, we're working on the green big ideas record and practice journal 9.3. We're doing mean, median, and mode. And real quick, just so we understand what we're doing here, I'm just going to write down some words just to kind of help me remember what I'm doing. Mean, another way of saying the mean is the average. Median, we have to make sure we put the numbers in the correct order, but essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to find that middle number of the data. And mode means to me most often. So mode is most often. Mode is pretty easy to do. Mean and median take a little bit of time. Now, the directions tell us we have to find the mean, median, and mode of the data with and without the outlier. Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to be able to identify what the outlier is. We should put the numbers in the correct order. So we're going to go 4, 6, looks like 12, 12, 15, and then we get that number 68. Now, hopefully some alarm bells go off when you have a number that doesn't really belong with that data set. And that's what our outlier would be. Our outlier would be 68 because it clearly doesn't belong with 4, 6, 12, 12, and 15. So first thing, identify what an outlier looks like. So my first column here, these are going to be the mean, median modes with the outlier. And then my second column, this is going to be mean, median mode without 68. So we are not going to include 68 with that set of answers. If we're going to find the mean, we do have to add it all up. If we add it all up, we're going to go 4 plus 6 plus 12 plus 12 plus 15, and we're going to include that 68. If you do add it up, it's going to be 117. Then we have to divide 117 by the total numbers that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 117 divided by 6. Yeah, I went ahead and figured this out beforehand. 19.5. So our mean is 19.5. And that's just adding the total and dividing by 6 and getting 19.5. On 9.2, we actually worked on the average. So hopefully you can remember what we did on 9.2 with the average. So we got the mean, 19.5. Median is that middle number. So I'm going to change colors here. We're going to go with green. We're going to cross off the 4, cross off the 68. We're going to cross off the 6, cross off the 15. We're left with two 12s in the middle. Essentially, what's in the middle of 12 and 12? That would be 12. So 12 is the median. And then mode, another fancy way of saying mode is most often, as I have highlighted up here, most often, MO, mode, most often. The number that appears most often in that data set are those pesky 12s. So the mode would be 12. Now, with the outlier, we have data kind of tabulated here. The mean seems to me like it's a little high because we have 19.5, we have 12 for the median, we have 12 for the mode. And then, of course, another, it doesn't really have to do with the measure of center, but the outlier is 68. In a perfect world, we'd kind of like these three M's to all be fairly close to one another. Okay, obviously the mode can change the most because you can just have two numbers that is most often, and then if we have two numbers, then your mode can be a little bit different. But mean and median, most of the time, is going to be very consistent. Well, let's see what happens when we find the mean without the outlier. So we're just going to do a little magic here. We're going to get rid of that 68. We're just not going to calculate with the 68. I can get rid of that division 2 because I really don't need it. So we're just going to pretend 68 no longer exists, and we're going to find it without dealing with that 68. Once again, I'm going to add them up. If I add it up, I believe I'm going to get 10, 12, I don't really have this one, so I'm going to have to work it out. 24, 34, 34, and 15 is what we're going to add up. And that would be 49. 49 divided by 5. 49 divided by 5. I got to create a little space for myself. 49 divided by 5. 5 doesn't go in there. Let's see. 9 times 5 is 45. Bring down your 4. Bring down a 0. Put a decimal in. 5 goes into 48 times. So that would be 9.8. without the outlier. So look at that drop that the mean takes without the outlier. It goes from 19.5 with the outlier to 9.8 without the outlier. And then let's just finish it up. Let's do the median. Now we only have 4 numbers, so I'm going to cross off the 4, cross off the 15, cross off the 12, cross off the 6. What am I left with? I'm left with that 12 in the middle. So the median did not change, 12 to 12. And then finally the mode is going to be in blue, and the mode is still the same. It's going to be 12. So, point I'm trying to make here. With the outlier, your mean is sort of a lot bigger than what it really should be. Now, it's still the mean, but it's just a lot bigger than what it should be. If you take out that 68, that huge number, that definitely has an impact on the mean. It brings the mean down. Does not impact the median and does not impact the mode. So the point is, with or without the outlier, your mean is the one that gets affected. Okay, so keep that in mind. What happens to the mean if we have an outlier? Now, real quick, it's just like if you take a 0 on a test. If you have, say, all your test scores are like, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 11 out of 12, and if you take a 0 out of 10, that outlier, that 0, is really going to bring your average down. Okay? If you get rid of that 0, or if you replace that with a good score, then your average, your mean, will be closer to what you would like to see. So 9.3, mean, median, and mode.